Gotcha. So, welcome. Don't move. Do not move. Welcome to the Gokinawa streaming experience. Today we're going to be talking about NickisnotGreen, my personal friend and a regular topic on the channel here. He has released a final, seemingly, I mean that's hard to really determine because he's uploaded multiple final videos about this, but final video about the SuperMega situation. I won't shoot as long as you don't move. Now, we have covered in almost, I think at this point in its entirety, how Nick has basically behaved or responded to this whole SuperMega situation leading up until today, all right? And the verdict has pretty much been, yeah, not good. You know, his handling of the situation, not only was it very, I guess you could say emotionally driven, but it was also extremely, basically negligent. And on top of that, it's also been super flip-floppy. So like Nick, again, would kind of double down and aggressively shit on Matt and Ryan and say that, you know, they're people who covered up a rape. And then he'll kind of go back on it a little bit, but he also won't really. He'll upload the video addressing or responding to the situation and kind of pussyfoot around apologizing. And then he'll delete that despite saying he would leave it up and release a segment of a video about Mr. Beast that addresses it and where he's apologizing in a super vague way. And now finally, it seems like we've come full circle and he is fully apologizing, which to me is just surprising. I thought that he was just going to blow past this at this point, but clearly this is something that has been eating away at him, or at the very least, he has continued to receive, I guess, you know, hate or whatever kind of criticism about this situation. And so, yeah, I'm very curious. I've heard good things, but I want to see for myself. Did our boy Nick actually redeem himself? I am the true decider of whether this man can be forgiven, okay? If I don't give permission, then nobody can. But yeah, let's see. I make harmful content that needs to change by our boy. All right. Don't mind this. I've just been streaming for fucking 45 days.
In this video, I want to address how I have made my content throughout my time on this platform, but more specifically with a series of videos I made regarding SuperMega. If you're unsure about what happened, I'm going to be talking about a lot of my specific actions in this video, but if you want a more detailed overview, I would watch this video by Unpoetic Justice that summarized and documented a lot of what happened since July.
Okay, so I've seen this video. I think this woman did a very good job of covering, you know, pretty much what happened. It is interesting, Nick, I'm not sure if he's going to reference any other videos that have been made about him. I doubt it, but maybe. But it's funny that he is kind of bringing up an example of a video from someone who is probably more in his kind of lane of YouTube, you know what I mean? Someone who's probably more likely to have been a fan of his or of content like his, you know what I mean? So yeah, he is definitely taking this from an angle that is within his community, you know what I mean? Which is interesting to see because it seems like throughout this entire situation, he has kind of primarily been focusing on apologizing for what his own community, right, of kind of bread tubers, I guess, would be, you know, mad about, right? Like with Ryan specifically of SuperMega, Nick basically would emphasize, I'm sorry for undermining his trauma in regard to Daniel, right? Not apologizing for, you know, the false stuff that he claimed or whatever, focusing on how he disregarded his trauma, which is something that Nick's, you know, demographic would obviously have a problem with, right? So I'm curious where he's going to take this. Hopefully it'll just basically be like sincere. That's kind of what I'm hoping for.
For the past 6 months, I have been defending myself against criticism for how I used my platform in a series of videos I made attacking Matt Watson and Ryan McGee of SuperMega. I stubbornly persisted and posted videos thinking that I was somehow the victim in this drama that was stoked.
Facts. That's pretty damn true.
By YouTubers that friends of mine had a bad experience with. In December.
Okay, interesting. So it was stoked by people that Lex and Ethan had bad experiences with. So he's probably referring to people like Sensitive Society, probably Turkey Tom to an extent, and maybe Destiny as well. Because obviously with Sensitive Society, he has like a semi-notorious interview with Ethan is online. Good to know. So basically Nick, he saw, as we've said all this before at this point, okay? The vast majority of what he's probably going to say has probably already been said, but he's basically owning the fact of like, yeah, I bought into the hysteria and I heard that the people who were talking about this drama were deplorables. And so I pretty much was ignoring, you know, a lot of what they were saying.
I decided to take a step back from posting videos, and over the span of the last month or so, I have slowly processed and realized just how wrong I really am.
Cheers.
And the realization of being ignorant and immature and dangerous throughout the course of this whole thing has not actually been a unique experience for me. This situation followed patterns of past behavior that are rooted in my character and how I respond to criticism from other people.
Holy shit. Interesting. Okay, let's see where he goes, bro.
And I realized that I'm not really getting hate because of the content I make, or because of the audience that I have, or because everyone else is wrong. I got all this criticism because I was wrong. When I initially started receiving
Facts. This guy, yeah, I mean, this is a good start. What can I say? Like, I just want to see what the rest of this is going to be.
criticism for these videos, I really only saw the most...
Nick, my boy, you have crumbs on your shirt, bro. What you been eating? Blood's been eating Pop-Tarts before he goes on camera. Oh my God.
aggressive and the most extreme reactions to what I did, and I immediately ignored it and turned away from it.
Right.
And not just those comments.
Yeah, probably referring to people like Chud Logic, I would assume, because obviously he took like the most, you know, harsh stance against Lex and Nick and etc. Yeah. Let's see.
But from people who are actual fans of mine who were worried about what I was doing.
Right.
I would see certain content creators making countless videos against me who I didn't like, and I would not take
Nick, I thought we were personal friends, bro. We're boys. Me and Nick are boys. We're good.
seriously at all. I would see disgusting comments about me and my friends, and I would turn away from it and refuse to give it any validity, and I would keep working through it and doing my job as if I had nothing to apologize about. I wouldn't watch the videos. I wouldn't read any of the comments. It took way too long for me to realize that not only was I wrong about the way that I have used my platform over the past few months, but a lot of the people who I shat on, who made content about me, were actually right. This is the 5th time I've responded to this, and every single time before this, I have done or said things that have made my actions even more harmful.
Damn, bro. Like, I might be the one who is literally chained to a wall right now, but it feels like this guy, he's turning himself into the police right now. This is like a full confession, bro. I'm amazed. I'm curious if there's any buts, you know, like if there's going to be a catch or whatever. But yeah, this feels like he's literally just, arrest me, officer. Ossifer, I'm sorry, I was drunk and I was driving.
I wrote off any of the criticism, basically saying that the people who were making videos about me weren't credible sources in my eyes. They were responding in bad faith. And this is...
Bad faith?
The people who were making videos about me weren't credible sources in my eyes. They were responding in bad faith. I made a hit piece on Matt and Ryan for attention and clout. There was an organized attempt to cancel SuperMega. I am one of the main people behind this attack. But I just want to make it clear that I am absolutely not a stranger to hate campaigns like this. Sneeko, ban him from the platform. Go to his channel pages and report the user. I would risk my career to ruin someone else's YouTube channel. I have suppressed anything in the comments of these videos. I am acting in complete dishonesty. That is the definition of attacking someone in bad faith. You cannot say you want to be held accountable until you actually say what you did.
So yes, you can go to gokamerch.com, sign up for our email list, it's right here, and you can be the first to see the crime collection. Trust me, we have a lot of very cool stuff coming with the merch. Very cool. I'll even show you one design that I think, you don't know the context for it, but I think it's very, very cool. So yeah, look at this design. Do you want to see the new, cool, innovative designs that we have coming? Sign up for our email list at gokamerch.com, okay? I appreciate everyone who supports by watching the channel, etc., etc. I will now, stop busting your balls. But yes, if you want more Gokanar main channel content, check out the most recent video I uploaded. Subscribe to the Patreon, okay? We have 5 main channel Gokanar videos available there, okay? This is a clip channel video. This is low key. main channel Gokanara content. Mwah, beautiful. Okay, so yeah, sign up for the email list. It's free, and I swear I won't spam you. And yeah, thank you guys for watching either way. Now let's get back to our boy coming clean, changing his diaper. Let's get it.
This isn't something that I have only done in this situation, but it's something that I've done during my past few years on YouTube. I never really took a fair look at what people were saying about me online, because whenever I saw the most aggressive comments, I ignored everything else. And I tried to move on as if I've done nothing wrong. I have horrible anxiety around reading or seeing content about me, and it caused me to do some very ignorant things. But without making those videos and receiving the kind of criticism I did, I don't think I would have come to this drastic of a realization. I think I would be making the same exact videos I was making before if none of this had happened. I surrounded myself with validation and people who insisted that I wasn't doing anything wrong. I wasn't comfortable.
True. Actually, yeah, this is something that I've been saying pretty regularly, where it's like, the people around him, right? It seems like, number one, they might not have cared enough to really, you know, force him to face the mirror, right? Like, if you surround yourself with yes men, and this is kind of a common trope about people who live in LA, right? They're just kind of, you know, they don't really give enough of a shit about you to tell you, to give you that parrhesia, right? This is, again, a ancient Greek philosophic concept where it's like, parrhesia is that fidelity to truth, right? It's being willing to tell your friend something, tell them the truth, right? Force them to face the mirror, even when you don't benefit by telling them, right? Even when it's not in your best interest. In LA, yeah, it's a lot of the times in your best interest to just tell people they're right. You know what I mean? To social climb. And so I don't know fucking really anything about Nick, to be honest, but the vibe I got was, yeah, like this guy, the way that he fosters his friendships, it seems like it's kind of just maintained within the bubble. It's just people telling him he's right, you know what I mean? That, or they just weren't that informed on the situation and they just trusted Nick and assumed he was in the right. But yeah, it didn't seem like anyone in his circle was really gonna confront him on this. And so maybe somebody did. Maybe somebody did. I don't know what brought on this change. Maybe it was the online attention around it. I think more likely than not, it was the people that were within his community who were making content about it. Okay, once people who were more adjacent to his type of content were talking about him, maybe he was more open to listening, right? So yeah,
telling people,
hats off to everyone doing that.
That I believed I could have been wrong because I was afraid to face reality. And I feel it could be expected that I would...
Our boy faced the mirror. What? This is a great video.
Come into this video blaming the people I surrounded myself with who enabled this kind of behavior. I could talk about how I trusted the wrong people in my life. But
wow. This is just crazy to me because I've at this point, I've basically covered every single video that this guy has made, and there's been many. And so this is just echoes of everything I've been saying. It feels very validating in a weird way. I mean, I know it's not about me, but like, yeah, it's just, this is like cool to hear after so many months now. It's like, oh shit, Nick is saying we were kind of right.
But the reality of the situation is, despite who I was friends with, despite who I chose to publicly stand with, I was the one that made the decisions to act in the way I did and react to the criticism I was getting. And when I was trusted to be a responsible content creator who is doing things that other people won't do on this platform, I turned out to be a coward. I have full control over how I edit and write and do everything on this channel, yet these mistakes still happened because they are rooted in who I am as a content creator. And I had the realization that in order to use my platform in the most responsible way I could, I needed to have a complete overhaul of my behavior, and I needed to make major changes to how I make my videos, including how I receive and respond to feedback. And that's something that I need to start right now. The way that I treated online controversy and the people involved was gross, and it is cruel, and not just in the SuperMega video, but in a lot of my videos in the past 3 years. I've made a career off publicly shaming people for mistakes that they may have...
No way! Holy shit, I can't believe it. He's basically... Holy shit, he's kind of disavowing all of his past content, which is wild. Did not expect this. Holy fuck.
Regretted. And of course, it's ironic that I regretted mistakes that they may have desperately regretted. And of course,
okay, wow, dude, holy shit, this is, I didn't expect this. This is like a condemnation of basically what has gotten him to the position he's in. You know what I mean? Like, this is the content that really is the true lifeblood of why Nick is Not Green is a fucking known figure, capitalizing on people's fuck ups, their errors, their mistakes. And in a lot of ways, in contexts where it wasn't exactly building toward giving them the chance to, like, you know, better themselves as human, it would kind of be to, like, write them off and say, bye-bye! Bye-bye! You know what I mean? Basically, I'm not going to say dehumanizing because that's not accurate, but it's not viewing it through a more human lens of, like, you know, most people, they try, or at least they think that they're decent people doing the right thing, usually, right? And so, yeah, in general, if someone fucks up and, yeah, they apologize, etc., they're trying to grow from it. Are they really a disgusting person? Depends, right? Depends.
Of course, it's ironic that I have spent hours over dozens of videos laughing at people's mistakes and the way they respond to criticism, when I myself have been closed off to any criticism or feedback that I receive on my own videos. And I'm aware that I've had content in my past that people have considered harmful and that people have spoken out about, specifically my J-pop idol group video.
Holy shit, this guy is going, he's like fully, because these are criticisms he has received that even I wasn't fully convinced they were worth covering, really. But in light of the SuperMega situation, people started bringing up the fact of, like, yeah, Nick has really fucked up people's, you know, mental health potentially, right? With, like, covering situations where even the people already, like, apologized and whatever. And so this was, the sorbet situation was basically a situation where Nick kind of stomped on some women who were getting flamed for cultural appropriation because they were, like, trying to be a J-pop group or whatever. Interesting. He's, like, going deep. Like, this is a thorough seeming, I guess, yeah, apology. Fuck. This is very interesting to see. This is kind of, dude, comparing this to the responses that he released prior to this, it's just, I'm surprised, bro. Like, he definitely could have just kept going. You know what I mean? This makes me think this guy is a much more sincere person than a lot of people give him credit for. Now, it is possible he got too much smoke and now he's trying to subdue the fire, right? He's trying to throw a wet blanket on it, but he definitely did not need to make this. Anyway.
My Love Surge video, my video about that couple breaking up. Even more of my videos have received criticism for being too mean and promoting hate towards people who do not deserve it, and for that, I am deeply sorry. I know that I've been defensive in the past when people have criticized my channel for having opinions that are too surface level or making videos with not enough effort. People were hurt by what I was saying and what I was making, and regardless of my intent, I chose to ignore these people and to continue making my content, and for that, I am sorry. I had my sights on making my videos efficiently and consistently without putting the proper care that is required for the kind of audience that I have.
Yeah, I mean, this is especially true in the sense of, like, if you're going to pretty much, like, you know, attack people, right? Like, if you're going to make an antagonistic thing about people just based on TikTok drama, yeah, I mean, you should try and be thorough, sure. But, like, the bigger thing is, like, you can make those fucking TikTok sludge drama videos. You can do it. The biggest thing was, like, you took what you were doing in those TikTok sludge drama videos, right? Your haphazard fucking research and basically just, like, shitting on people and writing them off as deplorables. You took that formula, and then when it came to a serious allegation presented by, obviously, you know, your former friend Lex, you took it and treated it as if it was literally TikTok drama. Like, we're gonna fucking cancel these boys, you know what I mean? And you did no fucking real research, seemingly, bro. And it's not even a matter of doing research. You did a dog shit job being a journalist or a reporter, which, again, you claim to be attempting to be a journalist or a reporter in your prior response, which was pretty laughable. So, yeah, I mean, it's not, like, again, I'm interested and I'm fascinated in the fact that he's taking this time to basically write off the entirety of the content that he's made. You know what I mean? A lot of it, at least. I don't know if this is just an overcompensation, maybe, but the biggest thing is basically, when you talk about serious allegations, you should be careful. Anyway, it's interesting, though. Let's just see what else he's got to say.
My priorities were on my growth and my income, and that drive caused me to forget about everything else that was going on around me so I could feel better about myself. And so this video is not only a statement and an apology, but it is a public commitment to using my platform in a way that is constructive and has integrity. I personally do not
Fascinating. I really wonder what he means. I really do. I really do wonder, because it's one thing to say this, but it's a whole other thing entirely for people to actually start employing this kind of a logic to their videos, right? Like, it's just a fact. Negative videos or critical videos or, you know, dogpiling, canceling people videos, that shit sells, bro. That shit sells. And if you go to Nick's main channel, you'll notice, like, it's just kind of facts. You're basically not going to pop off as hard, and you're going to have to receive less views, less clout, less money by making higher quality, more creative, less lecherous videos. You know what I mean? See, like, I can't even find Nick's main channel when I type in Nick is not green, because his second channel, which was Green is not Nick, popped off so hard for literally just doing sludge drama content. Let's see. 666 subs.
I mean, it's not
Yes!
real.
That's terrifying, bro. So yeah, look here. So we have a video. I hired a talent coach to commit tax fraud. It makes perfect sense why he semi-abandoned this main channel, okay, in favor of doubling down on Green is not Nick, because 40K views on a video that probably took him fucking like a week at least to make, right? Like, actually a little bit creative. It's just nothing compared to Green is not Nick uploads, which literally he puts a day's worth of effort into, or at least was putting a day or two worth of effort into them, and they'd get 500,000, 300,000 views. You know what I mean? The equation is very, very simple. And so, again, I'm not sure if Nick is basically at a point where he just is comfortable enough. He probably is. Like, he's probably made a aggressive amount of money over the last 2-3 years. But yeah, it might be at a point where he's able to just prioritize making this like higher quality content, and he can sacrifice the revenue. But yeah, I'm very curious if he sticks to this, because with the comments that he made about Matt and Ryan needing a job, you know what I mean? Emphasizing how he has a real job, all this weird shit that he would say. I don't know. I'm not sure if he'll stick to a kind of, you know, friendlier or more positive content, even though it won't serve to gain him as many views, right? Time will tell.
To using my platform in a way that is constructive and has integrity. I personally do not believe that commentary or critique videos are inherently harmful. I know plenty of content creators who do what I do in a good way, but the way that I was making content was absolutely harmful. It was careless, and it is not up to the standards that I want to set for myself moving forward. My content has lacked the care needed to deliver personal opinions that are educated and thorough, and I continually prioritize the efficiency of my content over making videos that I am truly proud of.
This is just obvious, by the way. Like, again, this is another thing that I've been kind of reiterating throughout these videos. When he made his Super Mega Are Horrible People video, the thing that popped, you know, the bubble more or less on this whole situation for Nick, the turnaround time of that video was absolutely unreal, incredible, genuinely shocking. So he says in the video that he started recording at like 10 p.m.
I'm currently shooting this video on Friday night at about 10:30 p.m.
Right? So by the time he finishes, like 11 p.m. So 11 p.m. on a Friday night, he records this video about Super Mega being horrible people. And then he uploads that video, no joke, within 12 hours. So overnight. So I don't know if he slept. He probably did. So like within very few hours, he turned out this fucking video that was basically jumping onto canceling Super Mega and really, truly giving it that sharp edge that blew up the situation, and is really, truly probably the only reason that people like Turkey Tom, people like myself even, have gone so hard on Nick. It is very obvious that he was much more focused on the quick turnaround.
I want to publicly apologize to Matt Watson and Ryan McGee for harmfully mishandling my coverage on a situation that I should never have been involved in. I'm sorry for really being ignorant because I was too afraid to face criticism, and I just talked and listened to people who made me feel like I was right. I made posts insulting and denying any wrong.
He's fallen on the sword, bro. That's big. That's big, because he's been so adamant about doubling down on shitting on Matt and Ryan for being fucking weirdos, etc. Very fascinating.
I'm doing on my end because I was too afraid to challenge anything else. I made my initial videos about SuperMega because I had pre-existing feelings and beliefs about them based on what friends of mine told me in private.
Okay, and so those friends were probably Lex and Ethan. Probably. Like, Lex and Ethan had been poisoning the well about SuperMega, and obviously Leighton, Nick has met Leighton. Nick claims he was never friends with Leighton, but Leighton obviously would have also been poisoning the well. So I understand a lot of the people around him were shitting on SuperMega. Again, I do think this is a situation where Nicky Boy, he smelled blood, okay? He smelled blood, and his friends have been hyping up this, like, you know, potential cancellation for fucking months. And Nick just thought that it would be a nice, quick opportunity to get a little quick scope and to fucking juice some easy social credit score, right? Not necessarily to make money. It's not necessarily about that. Okay, the clout game is very tricky. But if Nick can kind of add another person to his roster that he kind of, you know, protected his friends or called out these harmful people, right, in the vein of Sneeko, Gus Johnson, etc. Yeah, that would be respect on his name. But obviously, he was too hasty, and it blew up in his face, and deservedly so. Now he's finally facing the fucking mirror for real, seemingly. So yeah.
And I got angry, and I wanted to fight for them. I got my emotions involved in a conflict that I had nothing to do with. I saw all of these comments as harassment to me, my friends, and my family, and it caused me to react in a destructive way. At the time, I believed that agreeing with what people were saying about me or apologizing would be turning on those close to me, and it would make me a flawed person and content creator.
That's interesting. He's basically positioning it and angling it as though he was more worried kind of about turning on his friends or whatever, like basically, you know, alienating his friends, which is ironic considering he no longer associates with Lex Updog and Ethan is Online. So he did turn on his friends in like pretty much the harshest way you could when this shit imploded on itself. So I don't know that the motivation was that strong to stand by your friends. I understand it being a reason, absolutely, but I think largely it was more about like preserving, you know, your ego. I understand though, you know, you don't want to fucking go to bat for Lex and then turn around and swing it at her head. But yeah, dropping them as friends, it's not exactly friendly either. Anyway, let's keep going.
But it is humiliating to come to the realization that the content I make is far from helpful or honest or safe.
Yeah, that's fucking understandable. Especially a lot of the people who kind of maintain this veneer of like my content. Because a lot of people think this way, by the way, like it makes sense why they would. Most people want to believe that they are a net benefit to society. They're doing something good. They're doing, you know, good with their power, their influence, whatever. Most people believe they are, even if they're not, you know? And so, yeah, it's dangerous to delude yourself, and that's why it's important. Okay, you want friends who will practice paresia. You want friends who will force you to face the mirror. Mwah. Okay? Not people who shit talk you, not people who will, you know, make you feel like shit, but people who will tell you when you're fucking up. They will confront you about it. You know, for a lot of people, that's friends and family and brothers, whatever. Not everybody has family. Not everybody has siblings. So friends, you can find people like that. It's not easy, but you gotta do that shit because those are the people that'll prevent you from becoming a fucking goblin. Okay? And I should kill and eat goblins for fucking money, so you better watch out. Or else you might be next.
The way that I deflected blame for my own actions ended up hurting both parties involved. The decisions that I made while covering the SuperMega situation and the way I responded to criticism ended up hurting the people that I was trying to help in the first place because I didn't handle it with the care that was needed.
True.
Everyone was worse off because of my actions.
Yeah.
There were people close to me that had to endure harassment because I
think this is referring to Dev Limes, Nick's, from what I'm aware, his girlfriend. Obviously, you know, she's received a fuck ton of people, maybe not, you know, shitting on her, but definitely like questioning her involvement with Nick. Like, how are you dating this fucking loser, et cetera, et cetera. Which sucks. It sucks. It does suck. When this shit, you know, this online stuff bleeds into your real life like that, yeah, it sucks. Dev has obviously, you know, seemingly been annoyed with Lex Updog throughout the situation, feeling like a lot of it was brought on by Lex. Nick is clarifying like he kind of brought the heat on himself, and that is true.
refused to listen to those in my life who were telling me that I may have been doing something wrong.
Interesting.
I realized that I made a mistake in my first video saying that I asked for permission to cover the story from the victim, and then later in my coverage said that I was actually asked to cover the story.
True. Dude, this is great, man. Like everything we've been pointing out. This is exactly like, this is something where I just, in my head, I was like, this guy is a fucking liar, dude. Like, I don't think that, again, could that have been an honest mistake? Well, no, in reality, it was probably either one of two things, okay? He did ask permission the first time, and then he lied about them coming to him to protect himself, or they asked him the first time, and he claimed that he asked to protect, the victims or whatever, and then he realized that Lex fucked him over, and he was trying to be more honest to kind of protect himself. Either way, that was a sus action, and we called that out, and so I'm glad, he's bringing that up. This guy's being thorough. I'll be honest, he's being thorough.
Now, I want to clarify that I was asked to cover this story by the victim, but that does not remove any of the accountability I need to take for how I covered the story and how I responded to the criticism I got from it. That is nobody's fault but mine.
Respect.
I used a serious situation as an excuse to make insults and jabs at SuperMega.
Wow, respect. I mean, I don't really hate on him for making insults or whatever. I think you can say more or less whatever you want. It's more like you need to have the backing, the evidence, you know what I mean? Like, especially with allegations, I think it's a bit dangerous to, go as aggressive as he did when you don't really have the backing in its allegations, right?
SuperMega, because I got emotionally involved in a conflict that should have been treated with more severity.
Okay, I believe him. I believe he got emotionally involved. There was definitely a strong amount of emotion that I could sense from his, initial videos, for sure.
Childishly insulting Matt and Ryan and thinking it's okay because I'm the good guy.
Literally.
They're the bad guys is an embarrassing decision that I decided to make. I made digs at SuperMega's relevance. I put edits in my video of Matt getting punched in the face.
Okay.
All because I was convinced that it was all right to bully these people in front of hundreds of thousands of people because I thought they were awful. And for months...
Yeah. Wow. This is crazy.
Months, I refused to believe that I was the problem. I put my head down and I kept working because I just kept telling myself that people were going to stop caring and the whole thing would blow over.
That's facts. And that's exactly what I expected to happen, by the way. I expected him to just be like, blinders, bro, blinders. And truly with YouTube, usually, okay, and even in this case, you can just ignore this shit. You really can. You can ignore it. You can just focus, especially when your content is not as dependent on your personality, right? With Nick, a lot of times it's more about the people he's covering than himself. You could get away with just not addressing stuff. And a lot of times that could be perceived as the better move because then you give, ammo or content to the people criticizing you, right? You don't want to feed them. That's probably the logic he had going into this. But yeah, once again, now that his own community has taken a much issue with him and is very critical of him, now it's probably, he feels like it's necessary to cover it. Or if we were to take the good faith angle, maybe he truly has had a moment of reflection. He looked in the mirror and he was like, yeah, they were right.
I really wasn't comfortable with saying anything like this for a long time.
We can tell.
Truly, my character was the only thing stopping me from facing my mistakes, and I am ashamed of that. My behavior in the past 6 months is not something I stand behind proudly. I again want to apologize to Matt and Ryan and everyone else involved in this situation, regardless of if I agree with them or disagree with them. There's not a single person who I did not let down with my actions.
So that kind of implies he disagrees with them a little bit. Maybe.
And I am so sorry for using my platform destructively. I also want to specifically apologize for the carelessness used in how I talked about Matt and Ryan's late friend Daniel. It is concerning and cruel to say the least that I was not more immediately outspoken against the way that Daniel was talked about in other people's videos.
Interesting, bro. I mean, again, this is the biggest thing that Nick got heat for from his own audience initially, was him disregarding, Ryan's trauma. This is something that we definitely leaned into him for. So yeah, this is dude, this is rare. This feels rare. Like, especially months after the situation's kind of ended. It's wild to hear this, to be honest. It feels unreal. But I should just shut up and let it fucking play.
including my own, and the fact that I believed that this information was relevant at all to this story is ridiculous. I convinced myself that I was reporting the true testament of someone's character, when in reality I used someone's tragedy to push an agenda. I was blinded by this hate that I had on behalf of people who were close to me, and it led me to do and say some pretty awful things.
Wow.
Learning just how much growing I have to do and how flawed I really am has been the hardest but probably most important lesson I have learned in my life so far.
Okay.
I would not be making this difficult of a decision if it were not for the people who were this persistent about my bad behavior.
Okay. How difficult of a decision is this really? I don't know. I mean, I guess him calling it difficult, we should take him at his word. Like, him deciding to do this is a big statement. It probably is, given his past behavior, you know, the way that he's kind of written off his critics. This is pretty big for our boy Nick, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of just like respect and all that, but like realistically, it should have been like this months ago, you know what I mean?
And I am grateful that I have been given this many chances to finally take a hard look at how I've been handling myself, my platform.
Dude, he's thanking his critics for being so fucking like dedicated to hating on him. You're welcome, Nick. I'm just kidding.
Content for the past 3 years. I spent months responding to a controversy that removed blame from my actions, and it wasn't until now that I realized it's time for a change. My content reflects who I am, and for years now I've been making content that I do not want to be remembered by. I'm not proud of having a career made from ridiculing people and acting like I know better and that I'm worthy of judging them. Time and time again, I excused my gross behavior, and I cultivated an audience around pretending that I'm a better person than those I criticize.
That's wild. That's so wild. He might be heavily to not give myself too much fucking credit here, because I'm not convinced that I think that Nick has seen some of my videos on this, just based on past videos he made. But with this one, I really think he is largely responding to Jimmy Robbins. Okay, Jimmy Robbins, friend of the channel. He made a very comprehensive, very solid video about this whole situation. Jimmy was also very early to covering, you know, Nick's suspect behavior, especially with the Gus Johnson situation. Very helpful, very intelligent guy. I'm a big fan. And so, yeah, if you want to see Jimmy Robbins' video about our boy Nick, I think Jimmy's video is most largely what he is responding to, because Jimmy definitely comes at it from a much more an angle of someone who is not, you know, just trying to shit on victims. You know what I mean? Not saying everyone else is doing that. I'm just saying, like, Jimmy provides that extra assurance. You know what I mean? That Nick probably realizes is like, ah, fuck, this guy is not one of those hateful bigots. You know what I mean?
I know that I'm capable of being more than this, and that is going to start with immediately changing the content I make to be more intentional, constructive, and meaningful to me.
We'll see.
I apologize to those who have watched my content at any point over the last 3 years, and I am committed to improving my character and learning from my mistakes.
Jesus Christ, he's really going like, I'm sorry. He's bending the knee hard. Fair enough.
Over my time on YouTube. I also want to apologize to any survivors of sexual assault that were disappointed or hurt by the way I've handled this story. It is disrespectful beyond words the way that I have used this story to defend my own actions, and I am sorry. I won't be making this mistake again. I want to thank those who have given me the time and the chance to apologize and make things right, including loved ones of mine who have helped me grow to a place where I can understand that I can be better than this.
Damn.
Thank you for taking the time to hear me out.
Wow. Jeez Louise, that was a very formal feeling, but I'm just trying to think, like, is there anything I would have added? Probably not. Like, that was actually a lot more than I would have ever even expected from our boy. And look, while I am literally chained to a fucking wall right now and can't escape and haven't escaped for the last 3 days, 23 days, you should join the Discord, by the way, if you want to see the Gokunar Gulag. But yeah, after so much time in the Gulag, yeah, I don't know. It's a fascinating situation, because so much of kind of the more philosophical criticisms that we've levied at Nick, right? Where he feels like, you know, he's kind of a crusader, right? Like he's putting people to justice, but in reality, he's kind of getting a satisfaction from punishing people. All these kind of things do bleed into what he's saying here. And I don't want to, drone on too long, because God knows I've already talked about this guy fucking long enough. And I do plan on making a main channel video kind of retrospectively, about this whole situation, because this was such a roller coaster ride. I do want to do like a more philosophic analysis of this whole thing, A lot of you guys like, I guess, when I bleed in some philosophy into this stuff, even though I'm very, low level in terms of understanding the theories in that. But yeah, the Nietzschean slave morality, all these things, very, very interesting to see our boy Nick kind of turn around and say, you know what, you were right. You were right, bro. He will become better? No, the best version of himself. Look, I'm going to be honest. I've had this weird experience where I've uploaded these videos to the Clips channel about Nick-is-not-green, and I've talked about him so much. And I have started getting people in my subscription feed and in my comment section who are or were fans of Nick-is-not-green. And I have even started working with people who made fan art of me. And their only real, the first time seeing me was pretty much through these Nick videos, you know what I mean? Like, I've kind of gotten a little bit of bleed through with his own audience. And while some of that audience is definitely like people who just kind of want to see blood, you know what I mean? They're not exactly like the people I want to be watching my stuff necessarily. A lot of them are fucking cool people. I actually, I vibe with them. And so specifically, the person I'm thinking about is Panda Puffkin, who is a very talented artist, and I've been working with her for some of the merch designs. You've actually seen them through Bad Faith. She kind of told me, like, she worked with Nick on his gaming channel that he was doing, and she is like a big fan of Nick. She's seen his live shows, all this. And so like this whole situation was just very disappointing for her, right? Because a lot of the people I talk to, as far as YouTubers go, came at this from already not liking Nick, you know what I mean? Due to past, actions, maybe because of what he said about Sneeko, etc., like, being too vehement about banning people. And so hearing things like from Panda Puffkin, people are basically saying like, I believe in Nick, I think he's a good guy. It did give me a kind of secondary perspective, and I've kind of been maintaining this whole thing where it's like, in Nick's head, he definitely thinks he's like in the right, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't just some fucking cruel dickhead. I do get a vibe that this guy did want to defend his friends. He did, think he was doing the right thing. But in reality, people are very human, and they have all these beliefs about themselves that kind of protect their reality. And sometimes that reality, you need to fucking face it. Your beliefs, your dreams, your fantasy gets popped. And this was a situation where his fantasy popped and he fucking was forced to see the reality, you know what I mean? But yeah, I like this angle though. I like this commentary angle where we start by assuming, that people think they're in the right, and then we kind of try and understand philosophically where they're coming from. I'm not out here trying to fucking diagnose people. I'm not really trying to claim I know where someone's head is at. But I do think that using kind of philosophic frameworks is a very interesting avenue of, dissecting and commentating on people's behavior, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, we can judge people's words. Yes, okay, we can judge people's claims about who they are, what they stand for, etc. But in reality, as humans, our actions speak a lot louder than our words the vast majority of the time. And so, in the case of our boy Nick, what can I say? His actions certainly will speak louder and larger than his words, but this is encouraging. This is weirdly a little bit wholesome of a start to 2024. Obviously, Lex Up Dog might potentially make and release her response to this whole situation, which, to be honest, me personally, I just hope they don't. You know what I mean? Like, if the situation ends here, that would be satisfying to me. You know what I mean? Because my beef was always already mainly with Nick, because it's like commentator to commentator. What the fuck are you doing here, bro? With Lex, it's like, I am just seeing this. I have this foresight where it's like, you're just going to get eaten alive. I'm not convinced that they have the juice, but maybe they do. So if they do release it, obviously I'll cover it. I might upload one more video about Nick, just kind of doing a retrospective on how he was kind of, sucked into this whole slave morality angle, right? Where he believed he was doing the right thing. He was judging people who were sinners. And at the end of the day, he was kind of a holy crusader in his head, right? But yeah, that's pretty much all I have got for you guys. Once again, check out gokamerch.com and check out my main channel because I have very cool stuff coming there. And sign up to the email list. Do not be an NPC. Special delay. Go to gokamerch.com to buy NPC merch today and sign up for our email list. Or I'll fucking shoot myself. Go now. Why aren't you going? Okay. Alright.